And my favorite is during asparagus season when Norconk Farms shows up with their big, huge black baskets of asparagus.
Welcome back to another episode of Bleep the Budget. I'm your host, Meghan McDonald, Senior Community Relations Specialist at Forefront Credit Union. Forefront is super pumped to be the presenting sponsor of the Traverse City Food and Wine Festival once again this year. And for today's episode, we decided to talk about something we all spend money on: food. Or if you're like me, maybe wine. Today, we're asking why sometimes eating local can cost a little bit more, where that money actually goes, and who we're supporting when we choose to buy local. And to help us break all of that down, I am joined by two chefs who know this world very well, one from Artisan and one from Sugar to Salt, both who are going to be featured in this year's Traverse City Food and Wine Festival. And before we get into it, you are about to notice that my outfit is going to magically change before your eyes. Is it perhaps because I forgot to record an intro to this podcast episode the same day that I did this interview? No, absolutely not. I would never do that. I'm a professional. Enjoy the magic. Welcome to the show, Stephanie Lee Watala, co-owner, chef, and manager of Sugar to Salt, and Sarah Bobier, executive chef at Artisan. Welcome to Bleep the Budget, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. Let's first get started. Just tell us a little bit about your restaurants and how you both work with locally sourced food.
I'll go first.
Whoever wants to start first.
Sure, yeah. Artisan is a farm-to-table restaurant located in the Delamar Hotel here in Traverse City.
Yeah.
We work very closely with our local farmers and the Michigan Farm Co-op to source the majority of our ingredients, especially in season. And yeah, we love to teach new cooks who love this industry and love being here in this community. And yeah, we just take a lot of pride in that.
Awesome. And how about you, Stephanie?
So we own, with S2S Sugar to Salt, we're located in the Village at Grand Traverse Commons. We are known as a from-scratch cooking approach. We're very dedicated to using local and seasonal ingredients. It's how we it's how we best serve our community, because buying those ingredients from this area is a great way for us to support our community. We feel like there's a lot at stake with that. If we say we're working with all of our farm friends and artisans, then we got to make it look good and taste good.
Yeah.
The from scratch approach, because the food and ingredients in the seasons changes throughout the entire year, gives us a chance to really be right now with those ingredients. What do they taste like? What kind of things do we need to season with? And so that approach has served us really well. It's something we're really well known for.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I've had food at both of your restaurants. They are both excellent. So
Thank you.
Love that you guys are here in our communities. For those people who maybe don't know, what exactly does locally sourced mean when you hear that? Like, how close to home are we talking that you guys are grocery shopping?
I mean,
Here.
yeah, like a couple of miles down the road.
Okay.
We source from Loma Farms, which is just 12 miles outside of Traverse City, Central Hub.
Lakeview Hills is right down the road.
Right down the road from there, yeah.
You can get a lot of their stuff right in the grocery stores, too.
Right. Yeah.
But, so they have a larger scale, but I think we both work with smaller scale
Yeah.
purveyors also who come right to our back door with boxes, with mushrooms or, they, of course, need to be licensed, but we work with a lot of groups that a real micro source.
Yeah, they're very much artisans in their own regard.
Yeah.
With what they are growing and what they do, they put so much love and care into everything, and they're right here. Yeah, they're right here.
And my favorite is during asparagus season when Norconk Farms shows up with their big, huge black baskets of asparagus, and it's so. Yeah, and then they're like, and I was like, well, can I give you some money? No, we'll just get it later.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Wow. That's kind of a cool local difference, I would say, right?
It's a privilege, in my opinion. I think people don't realize the how rare that is in a lot of other communities. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's not transactional, right? It is, but in a more relational type of way. You're creating relationships with other people who have the same ethos or share the same values, and that's important. That's
Yeah,
really
there's a
important.
lot of trust, and there's a lot of pride that comes in with those ingredients, and then there's trust too, that they've done healthy practices with how they're growing things, especially if it's proteins or animals. And when you're telling your customers that this is what you're using, you're trusting that those purveyors are also doing that for you.
Yeah.
And so, I think that it brings everything up to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Of the customers can expect it to be great, because we're going to also handle it then with a lot of respect.
Yeah.
So let's get into the money section of it then. People say, I've heard, locally sourced stuff can sometimes cost a little bit more. Is that true? And if so, what are we getting for that extra little couple cents or couple dollars?
I'm going to jump in really quickly because I have a real strong opinion about this I think, but it could also be something that's very sensitive to the business that we are. I actually think it's less expensive, but the reason on the ingredient buying side of things, buying those ingredients, because we can use the entire thing.
Yep.
I mean, there's, if I get beets, they come with the greens on them. If we buy a whole animal, we can use every single part of that, from nose to tail, basically. You've heard that saying. Mm-hmm. The difference, I think, where you're going to start to see some costs come in is the labor involved, because it's going to require, these things are not going to come in looking perfect. It's not going to be, 8 apples that all look exactly the same. Some might have dents in them. The tomatoes might be a little bumped up.
Yeah.
And that's nothing against our farmers, but it's just that, there's another level then of work that goes into it. So for us, it's if you look at like the labor cost versus the cost of goods, our labor costs are a higher percentage than our food costs. Looks amazing, but that's because we're using everything. We even cook the parsley stems to make to make sauces.
Use
and
it in your
things.
stock. Yeah.
Yeah.
And from a consumer standpoint, I can see, yes, it is more expensive, right? Because we've created these food systems over time that prioritize convenience over quality, over farming practice, environmental protection. But in our community itself, the farmers we work with, they are prioritizing the opposite, right? And so they care about their farming practices. They do practice organic, biodynamic, regenerative farming, and they don't have like thousands of acres to grow their food on. So when you practice those farming practices and you do it responsibly, you actually yield less crops, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But they're higher quality. And so that's what you're trading off. You're saying, you know what? I'm going to grow the best thing I can here for the season. I'm going to pick it at the peak freshness, right? The most highest quality of freshness and when to eat it and the sweetness, right? All the different things that you're looking for. And I am going to take a little bit of a hit on that because I'm not producing it in wholesale bulk volume, but it's going to be the best. And that's what the guest is ultimately paying for, the consumer. You know where it's coming from, right?
Integrity, huge integrity.
You don't have to figure out where it's tracked from, right? Look at what's going on right now with the cyclospora, spreading and everything. We don't have to worry about that. That in itself is, I don't have to worry about, a mother's child getting sick from a couple bites of salad they ate, right? And I think that security in itself is worth paying a little bit more for.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I would say in a way priceless, honestly, to have that peace of mind.
Yeah, you gave me goosebumps when you said that.
I feel so philosophical. Seriously though, it is priceless. And as a mom, I would agree with you, Sarah. Like that is huge. Just us in general to feel safe about what we are eating. That is huge and that's awesome. And I'm totally willing to pay a couple more dollars for that. Absolutely. Yeah. Plus, like you said, the freshness, the taste is there.
Yeah.
So that you answered like 3 of my upcoming questions in one. So I'm going to skip ahead. How different is it buying from a locally sourced supply person rather than a big chain, would you say?
You might have to answer this because my husband does a lot more of the buying on our side. I mean, my only difference I would say is the people that we buy from locally, I know them. They're our friends. They come eat at our restaurant. They tell people to come see us. I mean, and with some of the bigger companies, our reps are really great. I mean, they're local people that live here too, and they're wonderful. So I don't want to dog on them at all. But I would say that, that'd be my experience in that. Sarah might have a little more information for you with regards to buying from them. I just write the checks.
Right, sure.
And I just trust that it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, right? It's that, and it's what I said a little bit earlier, it's not always transactional when it's a local individual that you share, right, the same social values with. It becomes this relationship, and where you spend your dollar means something, right? That this is what I support.
It stays here too.
And it stays here,
It's here.
And
That's a good point.
They say like for every $100 spent, like 68 of that $100 goes back into the community. It like keeps like recirculating.
Wow.
And we have an opportunity as a community and as a shared partnership to, always continue that. Let's keep bumping that up, let's keep it within our community. But going back to the question, the difference I would say is when I order from a large distributor, I go into my office and there's not any windows in there. And I sit at a computer and I stare at these catalogs with all these different options, and there's not a lot of information unless you do your own research.
Are they like numbers next to everything?
Yeah, and you're trying to understand the case size, and with that, it's a very sterile process. There's no connecting. And like you said, the reps are great. Like our local reps, they do try to align the products they like showcase to you with what your restaurant believes in, or align it with your, what you're selling. But with that, there's nothing like, seeing someone come to your back door and bring you mushrooms, or saying hello at the local market and bringing maybe one of your chefs with you to the market that day and introducing them. You align your economic activity with your social values. And I know I keep saying that, but it really builds a stronger community.
Does it sometimes take more time to look at those things from a local perspective? It sounds like it's pretty simple on a computer with the larger brand, but you're taking your time, I would say, a little bit more with the local.
I would say so. I mean, just from the standpoint of there's a lot more people to talk to. If you're working with a larger company that's a supplier that's bringing, ingredients and options from all different places, right? I can get my sugar and I can get my salt. Now I can get I didn't mean to say it that way, but I'm also going to get some celery and onions on bulk this time because the farm that I'm working with had a bad onion crop this year, so I'm going to have to go work with somebody else. And there's a lot more people to talk to when you're sourcing locally, I think.
Sure.
I look at our model and how many checks I write each week to everyone, and it's not just to one place, it's to 20.
Right.
Like that's minimum.
Right.
But well worth it, it sounds like.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
And it's less predictable too. Like you're saying, I literally got a text this morning. I know, right? We order from Loma Farm, Nick Thiessen, and he has a wonderful manager, and she texts me a list every Monday, and you have to have your order list back to her by Tuesday before 9 a.m. And she literally texted me, do not forget. I know, I'm like pleading to them, please. But she texted me and she said, oh, well, we sold out of cucumbers, but everything else in your order will be there. So it's really that like unpredictable sometimes. Luckily, we have multiple farmers who sell cucumbers in the community, and it's okay. But again, you're always taking a little bit of a risk when you plan your menus primarily on sourcing local.
Yeah. I think it's one reason I'm glad our restaurant menu changes so often. At Sugar to Salt, I mean, you could come in one day and come in the next day, and it could be totally different.
Yeah.
We've got some things that are foundational, like a quiche that we can put anything we want into it, or a sandwich if we're like, oh, okay, we ran out of cucumbers, so let's put something else on there today.
We do that all the time.
But when we do catering and do menus out 6-8 months from now, that's the first thing we say to our clients is, we're going to write this menu, but be aware we may not be able to get these things, especially if it's important for it to be local. We'll come up with substitutions, but this is, what we're dealing with. And so, the no cucumbers is always a hard one because people love them.
Yeah. And there's always that trade-off though. If that restaurant is doing that they really are trying to give you the highest quality ingredient, right?
Yeah. Our customers aren't walking in and being like, oh, I can't believe you don't have that today. They're actually excited that you substituted for something else.
Yeah.
And that's something you have to create within your restaurant. I mean, we struggle with that because we're in a hotel, right? And so we have 171 rooms. You're feeding people on property. You also have people in the community who come just from their home and they're just coming to dinner. Yeah, right?
Yep.
And so that kind of always makes it more difficult, but you have to be able to create that. And I think, it's a big reason why I'm excited. Stephanie's here. It's a beautiful respect from the ones who come and support you and an understanding because they know that you're not sacrificing quality for the cost or this, that, or the third. Right?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, you guys are already are answering some of my questions. Again, I was going to ask about challenges. Are there any other challenges with getting your food locally sourced?
One of mine recently has been with all the visitors in our area and expectations. People who live here or who come to see us by word of mouth know exactly what they're walking into. They understand that the menu, what it's going to be featuring, or the fact that it's going to have different things on it each time you come to visit. Some of our visitors, we have to literally meet them at the door and explain to them who we are before they sit down and look at the menu because they don't get it. Like, okay, I've never seen anything like this before. Well, what is this? What's a savory waffle?
Yeah. A little scared.
The best thing ever.
Yeah, exactly. And so, or why is risotto on your menu, for breakfast place? I don't understand.
Why not?
And so
that's the real question.
if we can, our staff is trained in this. If I'm there, I do it. We really try to meet them literally at the door and explain this is a from-scratch restaurant. We're not fast, everything's being made to order for you. And so with a lot of our vacationers, we have to just be very gently let them know where you're at and what we're doing.
Yeah.
So that they're not questioning like, well, why is it taking a little longer? Or, heaven forbid, I don't know why I'm even going to say this, but maybe, we do find a little bug in the greens, like, oh, no, it's like that is from a local farm.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing their best to make it perfect.
Yeah.
But, it didn't get sprayed with a bunch of junk that you're ingesting.
Right.
And so, while we hope that never happens and we try so hard to not let it happen. It's most people get it. Our locals,
they do.
They do. They really do. Or they laugh it off like, okay,
it's a little extra protein, no big deal.
We'll get you more.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any other thoughts on that, but that's you just really have to help people with their expectations.
Yeah. Yeah. The challenge is always, the farmers are putting so much love and care into what they're giving you, and the challenge is always that perceived value to the guest.
Yeah.
You have to create that. We all might say perceived value is quantity over quality. Like some people might believe that. And that's why they might shop at Costco, right? Or that's why they might pick the cheaper option. I mean, if you think about it on a personal standpoint, sometimes when I go to the supermarket, if I have all these options, I do go to the middle road or cheaper side of things, right? Yeah. I could buy any one of these ketchups. They're probably all going to taste the same, right? So it's making sure the guest understands, and that's the largest challenge. They understand the value and what they're doing, what they're supporting, And
we talk a lot about return on investment too. It's like, okay, if you're coming in for an experience, a dining experience, what are you here for?
Right.
And, what Sarah just talked about, making sure that they have that perceived value. And then also, that the whole entire experience together, when they're walking out, they feel like they got more than their money's worth. They got their memory's worth, or whatever it is. I mean, I think that's all important to a lot of us who run restaurants here in this town, because we do get so many visitors, but we really want to treat our locals special too.
Yes.
And so I know for us, we, helping them understand, this is the reality of what we're offering you. You may come in thinking we're one thing and walk out finding out we were not at all what you thought, but hopefully better.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Now, you both are running businesses at the end of the day. As much as I'm sure you want to, you probably can't make 100% of your items locally sourced. How do you balance your budget with locally sourced stuff, also making sure that your menu prices are something that your visitors are actually going to be able to pay and come in?
Mm-hmm. Well, utilizing everything. That's the first thing that you possibly can.
Yeah, you have to be sustainable for sure. That's number one.
I think that helps. And I mean, there's a lot of times, where we get our salt. I mean, I don't know anybody that's making salt in the quantity that we need to do things. There's times where we've made our own peanut butter, and there's times when we've bought it, to make baked goods because I do primarily all of our baking.
Okay.
And, there are certain local flour that I love to use. We use corn masa from Loma Farm, which is amazing.
So good.
And then there's times where, like, with our English muffin production, I mean, if we're going to be able to sell that out there wholesale, we've got to be really mindful about where we're getting our flour and what we're paying for it. Mm-hmm. And so I don't get all of my flour locally for those. And it's well known that we don't.
Right. Yeah. and it's okay because you pick and choose your battles.
We use local butter though.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Is you're resourceful. You hire chefs who care and believe in that same vision, right? And you're always saying, well, how can I diversify this one ingredient across the menu? Like, how can I incorporate it into multiple different menu items? How can I utilize it? Can I compost it?
That's a good one right there.
There's so much, and a lot of it for me, because we do very high volume. You do high volume too, honestly. I am amazed.
With our catering. Yeah.
Every time I go in there, it's packed, and then she does catering. But we do so much volume that you're always like, okay, I got to pre-plan some of this. And so that's been a big one for me this year especially. I work with Katie from the farm co-op, the Michigan Farm Cooperative, and she's really helped connect me. She's like that rep for me almost. She talks to all the farmers for me and helps me connect with them if I need to. And I plan my menu, and then there's that risk there if the crop didn't turn out this year or something, but you're constantly planning and being resourceful, like Stephanie said. I think that's number one. That's how I do it.
And you brought it up. I think I heard you say it, so I think that's a really good thing to share, is the idea that we work with the farmers all year round. They're coming to us in the winter and saying, what are you interested in? What kind of things should I grow more of, or should we try this year? So that's another dynamic to our relationship locally with these systems. And I think it's really good that you brought that up, because it's another way that we can plan ahead to the best of our abilities, and make sure that we have things that we need, especially so that if we can't get them locally, we've done our best to try.
We can still get a product that's quality and representative of what we offer, of course. Another one is just using the practices that have been used before us and will be used after us, preservation, fermentation.
I'm so glad you said that.
Just teaching everyone in your kitchen how to can, tomatoes. It's more valuable, I think, than people realize, because I remember being a little girl and my grandma would can the beets, right? And then the beets were at their peak freshness at that time. And then around Christmas time, we'd make a charcuterie board and grandma would bust out those beets and they would be delicious. It's the best way to have a late August, fall be in the middle of winter, right?
I have right now about 10 quarts of black raspberries in my freezer that I handpicked from our garden. Wow. And no one's allowed to touch them until the middle of the winter, because that's how we're going to bring July to January.
I love
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Because there's a time, her and I know you know this, it's like potatoes and apples, and no offense,
Yeah.
but, it's February and nothing's growing.
Yeah.
And
Agreed. Yes.
So
yeah.
bringing up the preservation techniques is also I'm so glad you said that. I actually, again, got goosebumps.
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
get excited. I know. Think about it.
It's a way for us to have things even when they're not necessarily in season.
Yep. I have a huge memory with my grandma and my great grandma picking and canning green beans.
Oh,
such a fun memory.
Yeah,
So
it's amazing.
And my tomatoes are doing really good in my garden this year, so I'm really hoping I have enough to can and pickle some cucumbers. I'm so excited. And we just have to find the time to do all of that. So
Yeah.
we'll get there.
I always like to say, if it's a priority and important to you, you will find the time.
Yes.
And even if it's 10:30 at night and the kids are in bed and you're like, what am I doing pickling these cucumbers right now? 4 months from now, you'll be thinking,
It's going to be so worth it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Fun question for you both. What is your absolute favorite locally sourced item? Like that thing you get so excited for every year when the season comes around and you just can't wait to create something beautiful for your menu?
tomatoes.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That's
okay.
mine too.
Yeah.
In every
Tomatoes.
form, in every size.
They're different every size and every variety, and they're delicious, and the vines are delicious too.
And they smell like the tomatoes, like what she said with the vines. I mean, there's a smell that you just locally that you can't get from anywhere else.
in a flavor. Yeah, it's like the most beautiful vegetal note.
Yes.
And it's like piney and
There's so much you can
yummy.
do with them
Yeah.
too. I mean, you can eat them raw, fresh. You can cook with them. You can make sauces. We have a tomato tart on our menu right now, which is hugely popular, and it's colorful, and they're acidic and they're sweet, and they're just everything.
They're amazing. And the other one for me would be squash.
Oh, okay.
I love
kind?
I love the squash. Well, right now we're getting these micro summer and zucchini squash from Fifth Wind Farms. They're so cute and delicious. They're really delicious. But I like squash because it's very cost friendly for us. And it's like this beautiful canvas with those light vegetal notes that just lets itself turn into whatever you want it to be. You can really do a lot with it. So
You mentioned tomato vines. I'm dying to know, what can you do with tomato vines? You got to tell me.
I like to infuse them in vinegar.
Okay.
And create like this like really piney, yummy flavor. You kind of like capture the essence of when
I
a
love
potato's
that.
like freshly picked
Okay.
off of the vine.
Okay. I might have to email you on a recipe
I know.
for that.
I want to
send
know
it
too.
to you.
I've never done
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah. And you make like gazpacho. You can infuse it into the tomato water. And people are like, what is that? What is that? And I'm like, that is just Michigan, right as it
Essence.
is. As it is.
Right,
Yeah,
captured.
Just have it here.
Do you think that consumers sometimes see a higher menu price without understanding everything that went into getting that food menu item on their plate?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yes. And again, why we're meeting them at the door and saying we make everything from scratch. Literally, we are not using can openers and opening up boxes and bags. We don't even have a can opener in our restaurant, as far as I know. And so I've never seen it. I mean, if we have, I think
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
we probably have one somewhere. I think we have
here.
the thing where you can like the larger can, the number 10 cans.
Yeah.
But I never ever see it out. And so I think, again, helping people understand from the moment they get to see you, whether it's on your website or social media, continuing to tell our stories about how we do things and, introducing them to the people who are creating them by hand with, and with their own creative minds and talents. I think that's a good step towards helping them understand.
Yeah.
You can get people to realize, like, somebody made this. It didn't just come off a truck ready to go.
Yep.
Yeah. And the farmers, it starts with the farms, right? They aren't like I said earlier, they don't have these big industrial machines that strip away all the inefficiencies. They are also employing farmers to go in and weed, and they do the tarps, and they pick the ingredients when they're ripe, and not every single one is ripe at the same time, like an industrial farm. So there's a lot of labor involved just at the very beginning of the life of the vegetable.
They're hand-picking the bugs. Nick and I were talking about that from Loma. And like, what do I do about these Japanese beetles in my own garden? And we had these little funny things on our tomatillos too. He's like, every day just go out and pick them off. That's what you do. You just gotta check under the leaves, make sure you got them all. And initially I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. But I did, and we got rid of them. I mean, the Japanese beetles are still bugging me right now.
Yeah, they're bad. But,
Yeah.
But,
oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly. You're
Get them when you can.
Yeah, exactly, because you care more about not spraying them with a bunch of pesticides and herbicides. Yeah. And instead you're like, this is what we got to do. So ultimately, I don't think the consumer realizes always that you're paying from start to finish. Like some of those costs have to be incurred by the consumer, right? Because if not, then we're not going to be a surviving business. We're not going to be successful. So, you're investing in the future of Traverse City, really, when you're able to understand
Look
that.
at you. There's the goosebumps again.
There it is.
But it's true, right? Like, I know you feel that way too, and you've seen it.
And it's education. I think we touched on that just a little bit, educating the consumers too about every step from the moment the seed goes in the ground, or even before that, seed collecting, which is what we'll start doing in the next month or two.
You
right?
seed collect too?
I do.
Gosh.
We're gardeners who are doing our best to keep that, we use it for the restaurant also. We
It's awesome.
For ourselves. But yes, I mean, you start with seed collecting and educating yourself daily, learning as much as you possibly can.
Right.
What didn't work well this year that I can do better next year. The farms are doing that every single day.
All the time.
And then, it transfers then out to having great products that people can consume. I mean, that's that full circle you talked about.
Right.
And education is a big part of it too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a storytelling opportunity constantly.
Well, you guys are both telling awesome stories here, so thank you for helping to educate folks out there about all this. I have one last question for you guys. Someone who is listening, they want to support local, but they do have a little bit of a budget. What do you think is the best way for them to support this, to get the most bang for the buck in a way?
Farm market. I
would say
go meet the people.
Yeah, go start at the farm market before you go to the grocery store, right? Because even the local sections at the grocery store, there's still that retail, like that slight retail markup, because the grocery store has to make money too.
Sure, yeah.
Right? The farm markets are, like you said, a great way to, share.
And you're meeting them.
Information.
And so then when you go to a restaurant and you find out that, let's say, I know we've used them as a reference a lot, or Providence Farm, let's say, the restaurant puts that on their menu that they're working with that farm. And then you think, oh, I met them.
Yeah.
I've met their people. I got to buy things from them and I brought it home. And so there's like this really wonderful little symbiotic thing that starts to happen where it's like, the farmers too. And so when you see them on the menu, or, a chef is presenting a dinner and telling you who they're working with, there's a familiarity. Yeah. I think that's really special. When my kids were little, I took them to the farm market constantly, and I love the farmers would let them pick things up and try them. And they'd say, "Well, try it," or smell it. There's an excitement level there in our community, and I think it just farmers markets are a great way to get it all at once. To get them all, and we have so many great ones.
Yeah, we do, and just go see for yourself why that is important and why you would invest your dollar in that. But also, a great way to expand your budget is, going back to like being resourceful. Learn how to can. Learn how to can tomatoes. Learn how to buy in bulk during peak season and then preserve it. There's a freeze it. If you don't have time to can it, just freeze it. And I think kind of learning those things too also helps stretch that budget and stretch that dollar. And then outside of that, you can really just pick 3 things, right? 3 things that you use normally, and create a habit of going to the market or going somewhere local to buy them. So whether it's eggs, milk, honey, whatever it is, it doesn't even have to be vegetables necessarily, but choose a couple of things that you can compromise on with your budget and really stick to them, commit to that. And I think that's a great place to start.
We have a good handful of folks in our company and admin building specifically that have chickens. So eggs are a hot commodity in our building. Yeah, I haven't had to buy eggs from the grocery store all season long, and
awesome.
I don't want to stop. So I hope those chickens keep producing this winter. I know it goes down a little bit.
Please. Yeah, it does a little bit.
They're just so much better. I'm also trying to have my own chicken someday, but I got to get my husband to say yes. Be quiet over there, Jeff. One thing I definitely want to make sure that I mention, if anyone wants to try any of Sarah and Stephanie's delicious food, there is an excellent opportunity to do that coming up this week at the Traverse City Food and Wine Festival. So tell us a little bit about how they can check you guys out next week, or this week, I should say.
Well, so we were invited to be a part of a really special showing of for the Coldwater Kitchen, showing that they're doing at the City Opera House on Saturday, August 22nd. What's really great is there's a couple different ways to buy tickets for that. One of them is to be able to come in advance of the show and enjoy a meal at the table that that is inspired by the different people that are featured in that film. And it's a really beautiful film connecting you to actually people who've been incarcerated and have learned to cook and have used that as part of their I don't want to say therapy, but I mean like their growth and ability to rise above their situation that they're in.
Oh, that's awesome.
I have some of the guys coming actually to cook dessert with me in my kitchen the day of the event.
That's so cool.
And so I think part of another ticket you can buy is just for the dessert in the show, or you can come for the show. And we're still working on the menu for that, which I could.
Can you give us a sneak peek?
Well, my husband is one who really likes to go right to the minute to decide things, so I can't. Other than I'll tell you, it's going to feature a lot of really wonderful local Traverse City, Northern Michigan ingredients, and so that people who come to that event can feel connected to the community in that way, while they're also feeling connected to the people who are featured in the show.
Awesome. And how about you, Sarah?
We're doing a lot. As you know, we're a hotel, Del Mar's Hotel, and then there's Artisan, of course. We are doing the opening patio party on Wednesday, so the 19th. That's from 5:30 to 8. There'll be some featured cocktails. The ticket's very affordable. You can find it on the Traverse City Food and Wine website, and then you can also get it on the Artisan website too if you need the link. And then there's also on Thursday, we're doing an amazing dinner featuring chefs from all over the country, from different ethnicities, and then also some that are from Detroit. We have Kate Williams, Lady of the House, right? Kevin Tian, he's the owner of Moon Rabbit in D.C. that they just placed number 17 on North America's 50 Best Restaurants. And his pastry chef just won Outstanding Pastry Chef through James Beard. Amazing, right? And you can come and experience a dish from that chef and really get to meet them and see, what their ethos is as well. So that's really exciting. That'll be on Thursday. You can buy it from the same place, right? Both websites. Friday, I'm doing a dinner with Artie Sequeira, who is Food Network star and awesome chef. She's so cool, might I say.
Yeah.
She is like the coolest. And it's cool because they bring a little bit of light and a little bit of more attention to where we live, and we get to make it really special because we're all using Northern Michigan ingredients in our own ways and in the ways that we've cooked growing up, or maybe our mothers cooked for us. So it's pretty cool. And then Saturday we'll be at the Grand Tasting, of course, and Sunday we're doing a big, awesome brunch with Kate Williams. We're doing a little bit different style, and we'll have a big buffet, a Bloody Mary bar. It'll be a lot of
Ooh.
fun. Yeah.
All right.
So
That wasn't on my agenda, but it might have to be now.
There you go.
come on in.
If I didn't have to work Sunday, I would be there.
Bring your tomatoes. We can can some of them while you're there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Fun.
There you
All
go.
right. Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Really appreciate it. Thank you for educating us about all this stuff. Lots I didn't even know about. So amazing. And thank you for all the work you're doing in our communities and locally sourcing. That's amazing.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
All right. And thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Bleep the Budget. We'll catch you next time.